Hello, everybody. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and we're here to talk about Hot Ones. Paul Rudd showed up for a fantastic episode. I'm a fan of Hot Ones, and I think Sean Evans is a great host, interviewer, and he got Paul Rudd on this week, and it was a good get. And Paul Rudd gives a pretty genuine, awesome interview. He always is funny in his junkets and interviews. He's always trying to sort of make the joke, but there were a few just moments where you just get a genuine sense of how kind Paul Rudd is. You can always tell how kind a person is when they're in one of those longer interviews, and they ask questions of the interviewer. How are you? Where are you from? Those are just, he just genuinely seems to want to know. Or it's an act, but I don't buy it. I just get a genuine likability factor of why everyone likes Paul Rudd. He's just clearly a funny, smart, likable guy. And the episode of Hot Ones did that. But there were a bunch of cool things that were revealed in Hot Ones. But the thing that surprised me is I couldn't believe Sean went there again and asked the whole Ant-Man in Thanos' butt theory. For those that don't know, there's that theory where Ant-Man would shrink down and go inside of Thanos' butt and then get so big that he would just destroy Thanos. And it was all over the internet, around the same time as Endgame, Infinity War, etc. But to Paul's credit, he gave a good, solid answer, like a joke answer that I'll show you right here. So Sean just asked, "What about the butt theory? Are you disappointed that didn't happen? What are your thoughts on that?"
I consider it a lost opportunity.
That was what's interesting is that pause. There's almost like a disappointment because he's literally been asked this question like 100 times. And if you actually go do the research, which usually Hot Ones does, it is surprising that they went there with, maybe they only kept it and they would have edited it out if Paul didn't give a funny answer, and he did. But I wanted to just go through, Paul has answered this question quite a lot. For those that don't know, it seemed to have started in this really awkward junket where
instantly growing in size.
He genuinely seems to find the first time
in the movie.
he hears
a question for Thanos,
right? Josh Brolin.
Yeah. Good deflection.
He's like a real cowboy, right? Yeah. He seems like he's a cool dude.
Oh yeah,
he's a very cool dude. He might give me a real answer.
He might be up for it. He would have taken.
Paul didn't really want to answer this. He genuinely seemed confused,
right?
And then
yeah. Now my mind is racing.
Now the probability
gauntlet
right?
But I wasn't even around. I wasn't even around in the thing to even test out the theory. Try it. You never know what's going to work.
Right.
Why? Why not? And I like it that we spent the whole time.
He literally spends the whole interview. This is an edited version.
Thanos' ass.
Yeah. So anyway, that seemed to be the first one that came about, but it wasn't the last.
The internet's going crazy with this butt theory about Ant-Man.
Even extra.
Been asked this. He just heard about it today. A couple people have asked. Yeah. And it's funny reading theories online because more often than not, like by 99%, they're true. Most are not. I think that.
But they're probably.
It's a creative one, though, don't you think?
It's certainly creative. I was asked about it on the Ant-Man junket, so clearly it goes back. I think that might have been.
It just shows how asked this question is.
We know there's going to be.
So anyway, it keeps going, and then he answered this.
Things going up, backsides.
Don't even know how to ask the question. Paul's just not having it anymore.
The Ant-Man meme.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know.
Can you explain the theory behind this? Because people are confused.
Can you explain it?
No.
Why?
I don't get it.
You're not giving us anything.
Come on.
Wouldn't an ear be easier, or a nostril? Why does it have to be such a unfortunate access point?
No answers.
Well, I know what you're talking about.
Tell us, Paul.
You want me to talk about me shrinking down.
That's what I want.
And going and saying, "Hey, Thanos, what's in here?"
That's what I'm after.
Yeah. And then hitting the other button on my wrist.
Ew.
Exactly.
That's the meme.
I don't like this.
I didn't start it.
And you don't know the theory behind that, no?
It started.
Really...
You don't know the theory behind that.
Why would you want to do that?
I don't know.
This is crazy.
It's the internet.
I'm being wrapped up now. We're never going to get an answer.
So it's just, anyway, when you're in these junkets, and I've been there, it's your whole job to get a moment like this. Some internet, it all used to be more clever. People used to do it well. And then everyone just started doing it, and then it just nonstop. And then it became late night fodder, and then every junket is now trying to play games and do something. We did a really good job of it early on. I'm one of the first ones that sort of really tried to mix up the junkets. We took Christopher Walken Colin Farrell, Sam Rockwell, and we gave them Honey Boo Boo quotes, and they did it. And they did not want us to do it, and we did it. And Hal did a great job, and it opened up the doors, and then it worked. It got so many hits that we ended up trying to do it as often as we could, and then everyone started just copying our boring junket game. We mixed it up. Obviously, I didn't credit. There were people before there. Matt Zoller did a lot of bits. Like there are people who've done the bits in the junket, but it's because over the past birth of Screen Junkies is what I'm saying. It got even bigger and bigger and bigger. And the junket people don't want you to do it. Paul Rudd's just one of those guys, he just doesn't care. I remember we did a junket with Paul Rudd where Hal did a Christmas episode and had no bit and was just like doing terrible bits. And it was Steve Carell and Paul Rudd. And they both were like enjoying just how awful the segment was, and Hal just was bombing. Not a disrespect to Hal, but just like the bit didn't work. Hal would admitted it in later in an episode. But it was just so, you could just tell the disdain in Paul, like, you're wasting our time with this, is it, really? But then they almost found comedy in the fact that it was so bad. So Paul's just too smart. He's usually very nice, but you can tell there's a darker side, and in this clip you can sort of tell he's pushing it. But it gets going, and then he did it on Jimmy Kimmel.
Look, these lips are sealed.
When Jimmy Kimmel asked, is this a real thing? But it's just been done to death. And this was there's so many, I'm not going to bore you with all of them, but this one, oh my God, this one's awful.
Let's
from
talk
Variety.
about this fan theory of Ant-Man going up Thanos' ass.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and?
Yes, and?
One, would you want to? Two, does Thanos even have an ass?
What is stupid follow-up questions?
What do you think?
I just don't think Thanos poops.
You don't think so?
You can see like a demonic sort of like, he's
intended.
annoyed, but I'm going to push back because this guy's being a jerk.
No pun intended there either.
And he's so quick. No pun, crack at it.
This is what the internet does. It just kind of floats an idea out there. You're not the first person to wonder if Thanos, he's Thanos, right?
Anyway, it's just funny to see Paul Rudd. It sent me down the wormhole, or the I'm not going to go there. Sent me down the rabbit hole of all the people who have dared to ask Paul Rudd the question of, what do you think about going inside of Thanos' butt? And I think we can now say with Hot Ones, he's answered definitively. Lost opportunity. In that Hot Ones, he also talks about, he does confirm that there was, and I heard this myself, that there was an original version of Anchorman where it was a plane of Anchormen and a plane of chimpanzees with Chinese throwing stars that were going to crash, and then they were going to all be on one island where newsmen had to fight the chimpanzees, and they tell a very funny story. Paul Rudd just laughs, thinking like how bad we want to see that movie, and I would have watched that movie too. He also talks about Wet Hot American Summer and a bunch of other really fun reels, and he just shows he's a genuinely nice person. So if you've already watched it or haven't, go check out Hot Ones with Paul Rudd. It's a really fun episode, and good for Paul for being a good sport and answering the question yet again that we've seen asked a billion times. That's all I got for today. Make sure to tune in tonight and every Thursday for our video club. We got a special guest. We got a special guest introduction for it. We're watching The Cell, and we'll be doing we can vote tonight on what movie we watch next week. Every Thursday we watch a movie live, so learn all about it. You can hit me up on my social media at Andy Signor. Hit me up there, or on Instagram. You'll be able to vote on Instagram. So Instagram at Andy Signor, Twitter at Andy Signor, and subscribe here. Hit the notification bell so you're alerted when we're live and we have future updates and videos. I'd love to see you back next time. Have an awesome week, and we'll be back soon. Bye, everybody.